Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the You Can Heal Global Summit. I am your host, Karina Stewart, and I'm so excited. We are joined today by Peggy Black. Welcome, Peggy.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Peggy is an incredibly profound healer, and I can't wait to share some of her gifts with you today. She has been at this a very long time, 40 years experience in the healing field. She works with sacred sound, using powerful core sounds for vibrational healing. She's a multidimensional channel whose gifts as a clairsentient, clairvoyant, and clairaudient intuitive allow her to assist individuals to live empowered, abundant lives. Peggy, she receives transmissions from her team called morning messages, and we really relate on this one. These free messages invite others to honor their multidimensional self. She has over 40,000 global subscribers who have received these messages. And she's been, around the world. She's really been at many forums, Tan Kenyon, for example, sound healing trainings, worked with the water ceremony with, our beloved and now past Dr. Emoto. And, it's just such a gift to have you here, Peggy. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. It's always an honor to be able to share your awareness and to empower others to use the tools that are so effective.
Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious how you came into this quite unique path. How did this awaken for you?
Well, at this point, I'm 75, so that gives everybody a little bit of a sense of the space I'm in. Yeah. And in my early ages, I was always, as a child, I was very sensitive, which a lot of people are and were as children. And also, I remember asking my mother, what do I do when someone calls my name in my head?
Oh, interesting.
She had the wisdom to just say, answer them. And so she also saw visions and was clairvoyant. She did not see ones that were pleasant, so that was not a gift she was pleased to really empower. I had an aunt that was a hands-on healer, and so as I grew up, those kind of abilities and talents and gifts that's natural to all of us was more accepted. And so, and my imagination was always encouraged, which is a key for all of us, no matter what our age, is to know the power of our imagination. Mm-hmm. So as I progressed, you go through life, you get married, I had children, and my focus became more in the physical. Okay. And then as an adult single mother, I started doing body work. And energy work. And I could see energy trapped in people's bodies.
Wow.
And I would work with them. I at times with certain clients, I could actually see a past experience would show up, much like watching a video. And sometimes I could tell them that what I was seeing, and other times it was frightening for them. I learned to ask, is this appropriate to share?
Right.
But at some point in time, it was after my second marriage ended, that I was literally devastated. I had ended it, but nevertheless, I was so filled with grief and anger about it that I couldn't function. And I was guided to take my emotions to my altar. And so I would go into my closet, I placed my altar in my closet. And I would close the door and light a candle, and I would simply say to the divine, here's my grief. Transform it. I give it to you as a gift to transform. And I would sound that grief and keen and cry and wail. And till I was spent, how you emotions will just drain you.
Right.
And then a few days later, I would feel this rage or anger coming up. And I would go to my altar and I would dedicate this rage to be transformed and use sound to express my anger and rage, which I had never probably ever done before. And I remember my mother saying, "You're grieving more over this than I've ever known you to grieve."
Mm.
At which point I simply said, "This is probably all the grief I've never let myself feel.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is all the rage I've never let myself feel."
Mm-hmm.
And after about 10 months of doing that, and it wasn't every day, but I mean, as the emotions would arise, rather than suppress them in any way, I was expressing them. And I was giving my mother a massage. And after my invocation and prayer, I took a deep breath and out came these masterful, big, huge, odd, weird sounds. And it startled us both. We got the giggles. And I said to her, I said, can I try that again? At which point she says, "Close the doors and windows." So I did that for another 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
And she sits up on the edge of the massage table and she simply says to me, she said, "I don't know what you've just done. It might be the weirdest thing you've ever done." But she says, "You know what? I don't hurt anywhere."
Wow.
And so that was the beginning for me. And what had happened is, by me clearing my own stored emotions, all these negative emotions that I had repressed, because they're not accepted in our society. We're taught to be strong and not show our grief or our rage. I'm a spiritual person. I should never be angry. And so I had cleared those. And what I did is I opened the door, opened the ability to allow my team to come in.
Wow.
And they came in as sounds. Now, I'm personally very visual and very artistic and tactile. And I'm not, sound and chants and all of that, it was about the furthest of my interest. So it was a real stretch for me to make these sounds. However, they were so powerful that all my massage clients began to have an effect, to feel shifts taking place within themselves. And so I realized, and then I began to look it up, and my goodness, there's all kinds of information about sound healing. Sound has been a part of this frequency and vibration of our planet since the beginning.
Right.
And so there's just wonderful information, especially on the internet, but in bookstores and so forth. And so I began to really investigate. And the more I investigated, the more I remembered. Because I think we all come here with this information. And we really don't learn anything new. We just remember. And so I thought that was my gift, and I was using it. And I was teaching it, and I was traveling. I started Sound Pods, which is a group that I hosted in my home and invited other people to create sound pods for people that weren't sound healers to begin to use and understand the power of their sounds. Whether it's vocal sounds or singing or humming, chanting, we all, our voice is our own healing instrument. And I had a quote I'll read to you, because it says it all. It says, "The conscious and intentional use of sound is our birthright and our source of power." So when we recognize that, we can clear energy, misqualified negative energy in our body with sound. We're really masters. And so that's how that all came about.
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. How did you get to know your team? I'm curious about that.
At first, when I was small, I was raised Pentecostal. And so, they spoke in tongues. And so I think that was how my mother kind of accepted these unusual sounds. Even though she wasn't practicing that particular belief system anymore. But nevertheless, angels and divine beings had always been a part of my upbringing. So I knew that I had a presence that was available. And maybe as a child, I was more in touch with that. But as I got to be a teenager and a young adult and a mother, all of that kind of, you get busy with other things.
Right.
And it was after my first divorce when I moved to the mountains. I live in the redwoods in California. I began to garden and enrich my allowing of this energy. And so when I did body work, I was real aware there was a presence. And I think most of us feel that in some way. And so I always just called it this presence. And it was after I had done sounds for a couple of years that I began to call on my team.
Okay.
And then I began to recognize that we were in partnership. They were wanting to work through me. I was their doorway, their portal. But they were here to offer their information. They were here to remind us of who we were, who we are, and empower us.
Right.
And so it was probably almost a decade. And I had thought that sound and all my presentations and teachings and lectures and all of that involved, which was fun.
Yeah.
They wanted to come through as words.
Okay.
So I started giving myself time to take their energy and translate it into words that were something that we could understand in this dimension.
Right. Right.
And I did it every morning. Like I've been up since 4:30 this morning. And so
quite a dedication. Yeah.
I called it my morning messages. I don't know if it's dedication. It's just my bio clock. I just wake up early.
Yeah. So what I want to ask you, what have been, this segment of the summit is about wealth and abundance, and I know a lot of people listening will want to know then what is the morning message on abundance, on our divine right and blueprint to prosperity, and what have you learned about that over the years?
Well, first of all, good question, and it's right there. It's what we need to remember. First of all, we are divine conscious beings in a physical body. So when you begin to recognize that you have a physical body and a physical consciousness, but you also have a divine energy and consciousness, and when you partner those, that partnership is empowered. Your physical body is empowered. And the team is always telling everyone that they do a session with is most humans use their creative ability upside down and backward.
Interesting.
So we focus on what we don't want, what we're worried about, what we're afraid of, what might happen, what we don't have. We tell stories about it. We spend a lot of energy doing that. But the fact is, if we're creators of our reality, which we are, we're creating the very things we don't want. So the team is always inviting us to be very conscious of our words, which is another form of sound. How do you speak to yourself? How loving and kind are you to yourself? How do you acknowledge your love, your respect for yourself? And also, how do you speak to the quantum field? What do you say? If you're constantly saying, I don't have enough money for this, you can write 1,000 affirmations, but if that's your belief system and that's how you're communicating, it's not going to change. So the key for everyone to remember is begin to watch how you interface with this neutral, powerful energy that will match your vibration.
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps. I love that.
So it isn't complicated. It isn't complicated. It's a matter of paying attention. It's a matter of being disciplined as you begin to shift, because we've all been taught how limited we are. We've all been taught, and we all feel less than, and so forth and so on. And all of that is misinformation. We're divine.
Got it. Yeah.
And
so I was going to ask you about that, because so many people will say, I'll hear it, right? Which is, but Peggy, I do set powerful, positive intentions, but I'm not seeing the results.
And the one thing that what we have to realize is that look at ourselves as biocomputers. It's a simple way, and we all can identify with that.
Yeah.
And so in a computer, you have programs that people have put in. And you've got belief systems, and you've watched your parents feel limited. You've empathically taken on the limitations of those around you, or the beliefs of limitation of those around you. And so in the process of your own evolution and remembering, those have to be looked at and addressed.
Okay.
And removed, deleted. Sound is a powerful tool to delete old beliefs.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. So how does it, I don't know if this can be answered, but I'm curious to ask, what is actually happening when that deletion is going on through sound?
Well, first of all, if you stop and think, this reality is nothing but vibration, nothing but frequency, which is sound. Everything is sound in some way, whether we can hear it, whether it's a high-pitched sound that only bats can hear or a low-pitched sound that only elephants can hear. There's sound going on all the time. Everything is sound vibration.
I get it.
We're always interfacing with that. And so consider yourself these belief systems that you have, these limitations that you've acquired, because they're not yours.
Right.
As a divine being, they are not yours. And so you can begin to focus and say simply, one exercise is always, I invite everybody each morning to simply say, I am fully embodied.
I am fully embodied.
I am anchored to this planet.
I am anchored to this planet.
And I am my divine self.
And I am my divine self.
Because when you bring your divine consciousness and partner it with your physical consciousness, anchor that energetically to the electromagnetic and geomagnetic field of our planet, you are your divine self in embodiment.
Yeah.
And so from there, you can simply say, I have a fear. And you ask yourself, what percentage of that fear is personally mine from some experience, some memory, something someone did or said, something I observed? What percentage of that fear I'm feeling now is mine? And generally, I will tell you, less than 25% is personally yours.
Which is a relief.
But the thing is, we're all empathic.
Right.
And we connect the minute we vibrate any emotion, fear, anger, grief, not enough, lack, scarcity. The team calls this misqualified energy. So when we connect to misqualified energy, now you've entrained, resonated with, connected to, and attracted a similar fear or limitation that's in collective consciousness.
Got it.
It's big. It can overwhelm you. It can render you powerless. And so the key, once you've identified the emotion you want to shift or the belief you want to shift, you've connected to the collective of that pattern, then sound it. How would that fear sound?
Okay.
There's no judgment about it. Nobody has to hear you. But sound it. And as you sound it, clear it. Imagine it being cleared from whatever circuits it might be stored in.
So I'm doing this right now with you. I don't know. Is this okay to jump into? Because as soon as we did those 3 affirmations that you suggest for the morning.
Yes.
What I felt the power of it. I felt myself grounded. I felt myself embodied. And then I got this little pinch right here in my womb where I have a scar from my babies. And it then brought up grief.
Yes.
And it brought up this feeling of that's not true. right? A thought and a feeling of what I just said wasn't true because I almost died giving birth. And so there's a conflict, right, in my body.
Sure.
Right? That's saying, no, that's not true. You're not divine, because feel this, pinch, ow, 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 like pain, right? So would you mind working as me as an example to, take
Sure.
a step in clearing, and this could hopefully, help
Absolutely.
others.
But first of all, realize
Yeah.
that your body, everyone has been taught to store emotions in the tissues, the organs, the bones, and the cells of their body.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Right.
We repress our emotions. If we're embarrassed and we can't freely be comfortable with that, we
Right.
just shut it down, we store it.
Right.
Well, over time, the body begins to malfunction. Or like you, giving birth and having it be a life-challenging experience, stored a certain amount of fear and grief.
Right.
That's still in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is true for all of us. So there's no judgment about this. You're not wrong about it. It's just, this is a tool that you can begin to clear your emotional storage. Because the key to remember is whatever we've stored in our body, we can be feeling great. You can be walking down the street feeling really good about yourself, and you pass someone and they are energetically at that moment experiencing a lot of fear and grief. Guess what gets triggered in your field?
Yeah.
The very grief and fear that you had at that experience of birth.
Right.
And so we have to remember, emotions are contagious.
Yeah.
We trigger one another's stored emotions. And so the key is spend some time and clear your own personal emotions.
Right.
And then you're not so easily triggered.
Right.
Because that's what's happening on our planet right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's repressed emotions, everybody's shadow is up. It's up, being exposed.
Yeah.
And when somebody exposes their own hatred or judgment or anger, and you have any of that stored in your field, in your circuits at all, it's going to activate you in some
experience way. It too. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I realize we're running out of time. So let's
offer some healing.
This is for everyone. So this would be how you would process this. So first of all, remember, I am fully embodied.
I am fully embodied.
I am anchored to this planet.
I am anchored to this planet.
I am my divine self.
I am my divine self.
And it's my intention.
And it is my intention
to heal and clear.
To heal and clear.
This grief and fear.
This grief and fear.
And now call upon divine beings. We'll call upon divine beings of love and light. Call upon the angels and archangels. Call upon any named or unnamed divine being to witness you at this time. So we're being witnessed. We're being assisted and supported. Now, focus on the grief and fear and give it a sound, and I will join you. And together, we'll clear this pattern. So take a breath, and if your grief and your fear could be a sound, what would it sound like? Now take a breath. And what name, what emotion or quality you would like to put in place of what you've cleared?
Love. Love.
How about peace of mind?
Peace of mind. Yes.
And
Yes.
forgiveness of self?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Good. Now call in this love, this peace of mind, and forgiveness of self with pure sound. I will join you.
Okay.
Wow. So we thank all of the divine beings that witnessed this and supported this. So the process that you just experienced and that your listeners have witnessed is a process the team calls emotional and energetic alchemy.
Love it.
So you're an alchemist. We're all alchemists. We're meant to feel an emotion and transform it. We're not meant to carry it around in our body.
Yeah.
We're meant to transform it. And so we can take this a step further. Is I invite those that especially are in automobiles a lot. That's a good place to do sounds because you can be as loud as you want. But go places, find some place to sound. Yeah. And also realize that you don't have to feel a sound in your body or an emotion in your body in order to transform it, because we're all connected to the collective. So you can simply say, I'm fully embodied, anchored to the planet, connected to source. I'm my divine self. I call upon divine beings to witness me as I transform some of the distress that's been generated by this tragic event. And then we're doing global work as divine transformers. We're clearing the collective consciousness. We're shifting and bringing more light and love to this planet.
To this planet, and that is ultimately from my view, what we all get to do, right? We all get to, we came here for that, right? We wanted to do that. We wanted.
Oh yeah. Listen, anybody here got a golden ticket. This planet is being watched by the entire universe. Yeah. Everybody wanted to be embodied. Right. And so you have to know you came in as a master. That's right. You might have dropped into unconsciousness. You might have forgotten that you're a master, but trust that knowing that you came here to do this work. You came here to bring a state of consciousness to this planet. That's right. That's right. Well, Peggy, thank you so much. And how can people get your morning messages? How can they, learn more about, sound healing, how to work with it, to connect? Well, first of all, the morning messages is a website. So it's morningmessages.com. And you can go there and sign up for the free messages. There's 88 that come about every third day. Okay. And then also I've done a number of webinars that are available at a very reasonable price. I have a webinar called Sound is Pure Potential. It's a four Saturday event, a 4-hour event. Yeah. And then I have a workshop called Allowing Prosperity that, trust me, if somebody does that, there's a shift that's going to take place. So those are available. There's all kinds of interviews available that's free on my site. Awesome. So that's the best way. Yeah. Fantastic. And we have all your information here too, right below this video. So I have one more quote I'd like to just say. Please, yeah. So I invite everyone to discover all the ways that you can share the power of sound with your community and the world. Okay. So take action, make it real, because it's your gift and service. And the key thing to remember your words are holy. Your words are sacred.
Mhm.
Every word you speak interfaces with this field.
Mhm.
So you might not make sounds, you might not sing, but we're always talking.
Yeah. Oh,
What a pleasure. Thank you.
what a pleasure, Peggy. Thank you so much. I mean, this was
You're
really
welcome.
easy. I'll just say, I mean, I wasn't, as someone who felt like a newbie at sound healing, now I feel like easy. I totally
It
understand.
really is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a lot easier. Children do this all the time.
they do. They
They
do.
sound their emotions immediately, and then as adults, we shut them down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember, I remember some children, young children, moved in next door. Now I
Mhm.
had lived here for 35 years without any neighbors, so this is a really
A
challenging,
change.
big change. And I was used to the quietude and the serenity.
Yeah.
And these little girls were screamers.
Uh,
They screamed from the time they got up in the morning until they went to bed at night. And
yeah.
I was noticing how irritated I was. And
Mhm.
then finally it dawned on me.
Yeah,
The normal thing is to want to shut that off.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
then we
they
all
weren't
learn to
tracking anything. They were just releasing it all. Yeah,
and as adults, we're always wanting the kids to be quiet and shut up. And so
yeah,
we've all learned that that's appropriate.
yeah. So I love that you ended with that because my kids are screamers. So that's a good reminder. Thank you.
But you know what you can teach them? You can teach them to hum,
Yeah,
teach them to sound their emotions,
yeah,
give them another avenue of
yeah.
expression rather
To
than just
express.
screaming.
Yeah, yeah. And the truth is my 3-year-old will do that now. She will sing songs, she'll hum. When she talks about her day, she sings it. I think that's really interesting.
Excellent. That's
Yeah, so
beautiful.
she's getting there. My 1.5-year-old, I will work on that one with him.
Excellent.
All right.
Well,
Well,
thank you,
thank
Karina. Thank you so much.
you're so very welcome. And, thank you, Peggy. Thank you to the team for having your presence here. And thank you to everyone who has listened and received from this. And tune in to the next set of interviews coming right up in your inbox. Until then, everyone have an infinitely abundant and soul wealthy day.
Thank you and blessings.
Blessings.